Unlocker, and today we're looking at the HOLDPEAK HP-760C digital multimeter. This is an unusual multimeter in the fact that it's very inexpensive, around $30 US at most. If you're lucky, you could probably find this for $20 US. It is a non-auto-ranging multimeter, 3.5 digits, 2000 count. Has auto shut off after approximately 30 minutes. Low battery indicator, and it has the standard 9-volt battery in the back. What do you get? Well, the package ships with the multimeter, the box, which by the way is actually fairly decent, not your typical Asian style packaging. It's actually quite rigid and good protection overall. Now, unfortunately, I cannot find the case that this came in. This did ship with a relatively nice kind of acrylic style case with a zipper. And honestly, for what you're paying for this meter, that's a steal. So I do apologize for not having the case handy, but it very nice case, and I will post it if at some point I can find it again. 760C does do temperature. That's why they're giving you this thermal probe. We'll check that out shortly. But one of the unique features of this particular multimeter is the fact that you may have noticed, but I will just zoom in here a bit for you. Yeah, it does inductance. So that's pretty rare nowadays for a multimeter, especially in this price range. But you'll see down here we have the millihenries, so all the way from 20 up to 20 henries. Now in terms of capacitance, it only goes up to 200. It does 20 mega ohms, transistor testing, voltage up to 1000 volts, DC, and 700 volts AC. Has a 200 kilohertz frequency. So if you want to test signals, you have an option with this meter. And you have your temperature control, which is in Celsius. So fortunately, if you're American, you'll have to do some conversion. But if you're located in Canada or Europe, you'll appreciate the fact that it is Celsius. And it's a push button on and off with a backlight. And as you can see here, it comes with these small leads for the LCR testing, which is kind of nice actually, because recently I did a review on the B-side ESR02 Pro meter, and that particular device shipped without any leads. So this meter actually costs less than the B-side, and they're giving you a nice proper short, because when you're doing LCR testing, you want to have small short leads. You don't want to have a big 3-4 foot lead, because that's going to lead to impedance and it's going to mess up your measurement. So perfect, great. Now another interesting feature with this meter is the fact that it has the protector. So here you can see the guard locks. If you have your probes inserted, it will unlock, for instance, the milliamp setting when you switch it to milliamps. And when your temperature, frequency, voltage, diode, what have you, it will automatically unlock that particular port. So that's a decent little safety feature. Once again, in this price range, it's hard to complain. I'm certainly not going to. Speaking of probes, this 760C comes with these leads. They don't appear sharp, but actually they are fairly pointy on the tips. In the back, that has a Cat 3 1000 volt 20 amp rating. I would not use these once again for that kind of high voltage testing. But that being said, you know, they are pretty decent leads. They feel pretty good in the hand. There's some flex there, which is nice, so they're not rigid. And I mean, all in all, once again, for the price point that this meter is going for, no complaints in the lead department. You have a nice long shroud in the back. Now, there's been a lot of people complaining about the physical insertion that's required. And it is true. I'll demonstrate here. And it's not the leads, because these leads will go into any multimeter without any issue. But for some reason, the one it actually ships with, as you can see, you have to really press. And that is a fault not with the leads, but with the design of the input itself. For whatever reason, there's just not enough space, so it's extremely tight. And once you have the lead in, you really got to pull it out, like so. And just to demonstrate, I've got another meter handy here. So we'll go again with the same leads, and boom, no problem. We're in like Flynn. So it's not a problem with the leads itself. It is a problem with the design of the input jacks. There's just not enough space. And it's not just these leads. I tried other leads as well, and yeah, it's the same thing. So yeah, that's too bad. Here's another generic set of leads. Same idea. Really hard. You gotta really push to get them in. So just be aware of that fact. Okay, so one of the nice things about this particular meter is the fact that you've got the on-off power. And I kind of like that, because sometimes I'll have 3, 4, 5 meters on my bench, and they'll be all geared towards a particular setting. Sometimes, say I'm troubleshooting 4 or 5 laptops a night, and I don't want to mess around changing rotary dials and switches and what have you. So the nice thing with this particular meter is the fact you just hit the power button and away you go. And you probably noticed when I hit the power button, the light also came on. Turn it off, turn it on. Now, that's a neat feature. You can turn the light off, then you power down, it stays off. Keep the light on, power off, power on again, the light stays on. Good job, HOLDPEAK. You know, it's a simple rule, but very, very well implemented. I like this feature. I don't know why more multimeters don't have it. Something else you'll notice right away, or maybe not, but I'll point it out, is the fact that here you've got that illuminated dial on the rotary switch itself. So it's nice, especially on a non-auto-ranging multimeter. It's easy to not switch to the correct setting. With that little light, you know, it's a little bit clearer, what have you. Really nice implementation, and I like it. So don't forget, folks, here we're talking about a you know, a $20, $25 multimeter. So as you can see, so far you're getting quite a lot of bang for buck. Also, in the back, we've got the standing bail. I like it. Now, some of the HOLDPEAK series, HP series, they have a magnet attachment on the back. This particular unit does not, so you can't stick it on the wall. Well, you can, but it'll fall off. But you can't hang it on the wall, as you can see. So it's got this handy dandy standing bail that goes full 180 degrees. So once again, good job, HOLDPEAK. Great design, nice features. I like it. The battery, you've noticed a lot of people have problems removing the battery, 9-volt battery. right inside there, you've got 2 screws on either side that come out, and then you literally pull it out. But it is a little tough, especially the first time around. But just so you know, yeah, that's how you change the battery. The actual feel of the unit itself, it's fairly feels fairly good in the hand. It's not super light. It's actually got a little bit of weight to it, which I was not expecting for a meter in this price range. So excellent in terms of the feel. It's a nice, solid feeling meter. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is do a voltage test. So I'm going to hook it up to the 8584 voltage reference, and we'll just see how accurate it is. I'm going to bring in another multimeter just to compare the two. Be right back. Alrighty, so we are back. Now I've got the Proba 903, which I will be... Okay, so we are currently on the 10 voltage setting. And once again, the Proba 903 60,000 count is showing a 10.024 volt reading. The 8584 voltage reference is 10.000, and the HOLDPEAK is showing us, with the lower resolution, a count of 9.9697. It's fluttering back and forth. Going out to the 2.5, we're showing 2.5028 on the Proba 903, 2.48 on the HOLDPEAK 763, up to the 5 volt setting. It's 5.00. On the HOLDPEAK, we've got 4.98 volts, 5.00 on the Proba 903, and finally the 7.50 setting. The HOLDPEAK is showing us 7.47 volts, and the Proba 903 slightly high at 7.51. So there we have it, folks. All in all, the HP seems to be just a tad under a few counts in the voltage range, but generally speaking, nothing serious. And really, you know, for once again a meter in this price category, good job. Okay, so we're going to start testing here. The battery, low battery indicator just came up. Now I had originally put in a used battery, so that's good. Gives you a good indicator of what you'll see if you have a bad battery, and we'll change that out shortly. Now I don't think that's going to affect the inductance measurement per se, so we'll measure these guys and see what we have. Right now I'm on the 200 millihenry. I'll start with the 20 millihenry range. Okay, so for the 20, we're not showing anything. We'll bring it up a notch. Alrighty, so we are showing 145 millihenries. Now we're going to compare that to the expensive Agilent. So the Agilent showing is 133. So pretty close. Yeah, good job, HOLDPEAK. Once again, we're looking at a $20 meter compared to a $500 piece of equipment. So I wish I had more inductors. I do apologize. Just in the midst of transitioning my electronics shop. So yeah. But anyway, as you can see, it's fairly accurate. Once again, start in the lower range, work your way up, and you know, excellent. I really do like having this feature on a typical multimeter. It's very handy, could come in useful. I'm not going to use it all the time, but you know what? When you need it, it's there. Okay, next we're going to look at capacitance. Once again, quickly before we go to capacitance, I put the Agilent on hold, and there you are. So 144.4 compared to 133.22, slightly higher resolution on the Agilent. All in all, about 10 millihenries off, and once again, no complaints. Okay, we're now in the capacitance mode, and once again for the HOLDPEAK, you have to make sure that you take out your probe from the inductance and put it into the capacitance. So it's the red lead here. Take it out of the inductance, put it into the capacitance, and the common stays the same. So in this case, it's a 47 microfarad. HOLDPEAK only goes up to 200 microfarad, really not very much. But we're showing a 43.4 microfarad. And just for the heck of it, I put it on the Agilent, and at 100 hertz frequency, we've got 42.3 microfarad. So once again, $500 meter, $20 meter. I don't think that's any discrepancy at all. So good job, HOLDPEAK. Okay, we're now in resistance mode. One of the other things with this meter, which is kind of cool, is the fact that you don't have to remove your leads. In fact, I don't. I leave these two here on all the time. So you can make separate measurements without having to take the leads off the top. So I'm going to use the standard HP probes, and I'm just going to do a quick resistance test. Some people might mock or laugh or think, you know, I don't test resistors, but hey, nothing wrong with comparing accuracy. And this is a 200 ohm, 1% precision. And let's just see what the HOLDPEAK shows us. So 199.3.4. So good job, HOLDPEAK. Okay, now we're in diode mode, and I'm going to do a quick diode test. Check out the forward voltage drop, put it to the diode setting. As you can see, it's the same as the continuity. And just under 500 is the forward voltage drop. Okay, so all in all, accuracy-wise, oh, you know what we didn't test? Yeah, we got to do that. We're going to test the temperature. But before we do that, we're actually going to replace the battery. So I am going to so once again on the back, you've got the standing bail. Lift it up and get out your trusty screwdriver. And it just pops off like so. And here's a crappy battery. Give it a little push here, make it come out. Now, on previous models of this HP meter, the 9-volt battery connector was really short, and it was almost comical. They've obviously made it longer, so yeah, that's important. Okay, I'm just going to find another battery. Be right back. Alrighty, we're back. Now, put the squeaky clean new Duracell 9-volt battery in, and one thing you might notice with this meter, for some reason, the connector lead was very loose, the 9-volt lead. So what I did is I just took a pair of pliers and just gently squeezed in the sides on the negative rail or post, and now it's a nice tight fit. Interestingly enough, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is a resistor, and for whatever reason, it's visible. Alrighty, so it goes in like that. And we are back, and we have no low battery light. Good stuff. Okay. So, like I said, we're going to check the temperature, and we will use the temperature probe that the HP-760C ships with. Comme ça. Yes, this is what it is. Alrighty. I will remove the leads and we will insert the temperature probe. So once again, black into the COM, other into the red. Put it on the temperature setting. You can only go one. Okay, so probably not entirely fair, but I've got a Fluke 87.5 and it's in temperature mode, and we're going to compare the two. And right now the HOLDPEAK is showing us around 26 degrees is the ambient temperature. This is Celsius. And the Fluke is showing us about 22.9. So about a 3 degrees offset. And for my American friends, 23 degrees Celsius is around about 78 degrees. And obviously it's indoors. And it is snowing outside. Just to give you a quick look, see? Yeah, all that white stuff. So anybody has a palm tree they'd like to donate, I'd love to have one. Okay. So once again, about a 2 to 3 degree offset temperature-wise. That's not too bad at all. So there you go. That's the temperature mode for the HP-760C. Okay, so next up is, last but not least, the continuity test. And as you know, I love to test continuity since I do a lot of circuit troubleshooting on laptop mainboards, what have you. I've got these stock probes that come with the meter. And here we go. We're set to the continuity feature. So there's no visual indicator. I hope you can hear that. There is lag. It's definitely not instantaneous, and I do have to put pressure on the leads. Once again, I do hope you can hear that, because in a previous video I was giving continuity testing, and later when I was viewing the video I realized that it wasn't very audible, if audible at all. So I do apologize. Anyway, that's the stock probes. What we're going to do now is replace these with probe masters, and we'll see if there's a difference. Be right back. Okay, so I replaced the stock probes with a set of probe masters, nice probes, and we will see if the continuity is any better. Once again, it's quite low, and once again, I hope you can hear this. It's slightly faster with the probes, the probe masters, and I don't have to put any pressure on it to, but still a little on the slow side. And I really wish that the speaker was louder, because it's quite low. If you're in a production environment, you probably wouldn't hear this. Okay, so for continuity, I'm going to give it a thumbs down. Coming up next, we're going to take a look inside the meter and just see how it looks, input protection wise and what have you. So here we are, the back exposed and the HP in all its naked glory, or something like that. From the get-go, first of all, the other half has no shielding. Ooh. HP, yes. Because meters are often around all sorts of electromagnetic devices, instruments, what have you, it's really important, almost critical, to have some sort of shielding on your meter. So I will shield this myself, and it's too bad. It took 4 screws to come out. None of them are metal inserts, all plastic. So once again, yeah. For the internals itself, start at the bottom here. We have 2 glass fuses, one for the current and another for the milliamp. Here we have 0.2 amps. Both small glass fuses. Now, one thing I do like is the fact, if you look at the sockets. They're not the cheap, cheesy, you know, just soldered in. Yes, they are soldered to the PCB down here. But here you've got a really nice screwed in metal inserts with these standoffs. So probably a good thing, because these jacks are a little on the tight side, as I showed you previously. But that is good. Better than average, especially in this price point. So in terms of long-term wear, that's going to definitely help this meter survive in the long run. We followed around. We have a couple of diodes down here. We have a small single PTC. Resistors here. More resistors. We actually have an IC over here. I'm not sure what that IC is feeding. As you can see, we have a mixture of components here. We have a combination of SMD and through-hole components. More capacitors. We have some trim pots here. Another resistor array, a zener diode over here. Coming up here, we have a bridge, separate PCB. This is for your capacitance and inductance plugs. And once again, it's actually quite good quality. Nice, sturdy metal inserts there, so that's good to see. Going up further, we have our cob here that's covered. Generic IC. Another IC over here, probably feeding the display. Here's our rather pathetic speaker. Definitely that should be improved upon. This is the power feed for the display itself. Here in the middle we have the power bridge. This goes to illuminate the selector switch. And as you can see here, we have the standard 9-volt battery attachment. So PCB wise, I mean, I'm you know, I'm not impressed, but I'm not depressed. No flux residue, nothing in that respect. It's very clean. I'm not a big fan of this mixture of through-hole and SMD. But that being said, if you look at the manufacturing date, it's showing us here as a Rev 3.5, and the date says March 11th, 2014. So even though I just received this board about a month ago, and now we're in 2018, this was actually fabricated, manufactured about 4 years ago. So interesting. Once again, this is for the transistor tester. Actually, quite a decent soldering job in that respect. So once again, I mean, you don't really have any input protection. I would not advise doing anything that requires some sort of mains. I would feel confident testing the voltage in the house. General duties like that. For Electronics Hobbyist, no problems whatsoever. But are you going to put this on a high mains? No. And that's our sole single PTC over there. So once again, you know, quality wise, it's not bad. It's actually fairly decent. Once again, we're talking about a $20–25 meter. I'm not going to take it apart any further. I don't really see the point. But there you have it. The insides of the HP. Whoop. So I'm going to get this one back together and give you my final closing thoughts. Be right back. So closing thoughts on the HP-760C. It's a versatile little multimeter. It's non-autoranging, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's got a lot of good things going for it. The most obvious being that it's got the inductance testing, which is something that's pretty rare on a meter in this price range. You've got the nice on-off with the power. I really like that idea of having the light be on all the time. If you want to use a light, it's there. You don't have to fiddle around with switches. You can keep this for one setting in particular on a bench. When you want to use it, power it on. When you don't, you power it off. Display's nice, it's crisp. Good quality selector switch. Feels good. Has a nice clickety-click to it. Has a lot of functionality. Does temperature as well, which you don't normally see again in this price range. Temperature-wise, it seemed to be fairly decent. And once we looked at the internals, the build quality, for what it is, for me, it's a hobbyist meter. And once again, if you want to use it around the house, do some testing, what have you, it's good. It's not safe enough to do anything mains testing. 2 glass fuses and 1 small little PTC doesn't really cut it. PCB itself is clean. The only thing that you probably want to be aware of is that, once again, the PCB on this multimeter, which was shipped to me in 2018, is dated 2014. So yeah, I don't know if there's any more enhancements or revisions since then, but all in all, considering it's a $20 to $30 tops multimeter, generally I think you're getting quite a lot of value for your money. Comes with a pretty decent little set of crocodile clips for the inductance testing. You have the safety feature for the inputs. In terms of capacitance, it only goes up to 200 microfarad, but you know, whether or not that's important to you depends on what you do. I don't think it's enough. I wish every multimeter at least did 1000 microfarad, but generally speaking, it's a great overall round performer. And I think you could do much worse at this price range. The fact that it does inductance for me is a win-win. And out of 5 stars, I'm going to give the HOLDPEAK HP-760C multimeter a solid 3.5 out of 5 stars. Keep on testing.